Rob, good to be here, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I got to say, of all the people I've ever met, I think you have the coolest brag. If you're at a party and you got one thing that you want to, help you stand out over everybody else, the guy that killed Osama Bin Laden. That's hard to top.
Well, it's not a brag. It's more now of a story I can't get away from. And it's like, cause like, you get haters online and people will say like, hey, I'm Rob O'Neill. I haven't talked about Osama Bin Laden for 30 seconds. And I'll say, hey, stop asking. I won't bring him up again. But it's one of those things that I can't get away from it. It's almost anything that impactful.
Yeah,
it just follows me around. I've made peace with it. I mean, it's fine, but it's hell of a story.
Well, it's interesting because even as I was prepping for this podcast, I'm like, I want to talk about so many other things with you as well, but it wouldn't do justice to my audience if we don't tell that amazing story as well.
I'm ready to tell it. It's because it's not about me. It's a story about amazing people that got me there. I was smart enough to carry a sledgehammer and a gun. But there were so many people, especially women behind the scenes, that found him. The pilots that got us there, the air crew that made sure the plane was flying, could open the door. And then my teammates that I followed up the stairs. Just because of the way it went, I had a front row seat to the greatest mission in modern history. And I just ended up the last guy in a line to go through a room, and I met Bin Laden for half a second.
Yeah. Well, we'll kind of back into the story a little bit. I want my audience to get to know a little bit more about you as well. And then before we get too far into the story, one thing I want to start out with is you have been speaking out a lot about Ibogaine.
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent of those things as well. I first, I was in Israel about a decade ago, just vacationing. And first heard about, my tour guide talked about MDMA therapy, how they would give that to their troops and help them with these different things. And it was the first time I really started hearing about some of these psychedelics and things that could help with trauma. And you've started speaking out quite a bit with Ibogaine because it's such a prominent thing to help in PTSD and suicide, all these things with the military is
everything. Yeah. Not just PTSD, but addiction, infertility. Anxiety. Ibogaine it's not a cure, but it's definitely a treatment for all these. And some people, I'm talking about like heroin addicts, have been cured overnight because of Ibogaine. But I think I'm trying to get it's not like legalized weed. It's more of a medically induced legalization to give it to people that need it. But I've seen people that have been cured overnight. And it's just Congress, the lawmakers and whomever is behind the lawmakers, they don't want it because there's no money in the cure. There's a hell of a lot of money in the treatment. But if you cure it, I mean, what's Pfizer going to do if all of a sudden a bunch of people are cured of stuff? But Ibogaine it's oh my God, 5,000 years old. And it comes from Iboga, which is the grandfather. Ibogaine is like the nephew. But it basically what it does is it gives you a tour of your soul. And you have an opportunity to ask yourself the difficult questions. And the way it was explained to me is because people always say, well, you only use 30% of your brain, which is sort of true, but you use 30% of your brain on certain things. So I'm playing chess with my mom, 30% of my brain. I'm playing basketball with my dad, 30%. But what Ibogaine does is it opens all of them and they talk to each other. So it's your brain talking to itself, but the Ibogaine is the messenger and it kind of guides you through it. And you are, it brings up stuff that you think you forgot. But it helps you heal. It's a healing process. Obviously, Congress doesn't want that because, God forbid we had a healthy populace.
Yeah, no, you start seeing the people in charge and you start to, you really saw this during COVID, what they were pushing, what was healthy and what wasn't, right? Like if you get the shot, we're going to give you donuts and French fries and all these kinds of things. And you started going, hold on a sec, they don't actually care about getting us healthy. And it's kind of the same thing I look at with some of these psychedelics, some of the plant medicines that are really powerful. I've personally dealt with, ayahuasca. It's transformed my life and some of these other things that are out there. But I have heard, if I had a son or a loved one that was on heroin, Ibogaine, I believe it's like a 70-80% success rate in getting them to completely quit.
Yeah. There's a process, and I go through a company called VETS, veteransolutions.org, and it's run by a Tier 1 Navy SEAL with whom I worked and his wife. And the process is I had to go to Mexico because they say it's a club drug. By the way, if you took Ibogaine and go into a club, you ever seen the movie Event Horizon when the dude rips his eyeballs out? That's what you would do. But you went down there and it was like a sweat lodge with MDMA and then Ibogaine, then Reiki, and then DMT, 5-OMA, or I'm probably saying it wrong. But the entire process, it's just exploring your own soul, and I just felt better. It was because for me it was PTSD, being a little bit violent when I drink alcohol, and that's what I was trying to. I wanted to ask it, why am I drinking too much? And when I got done with it, I was in the San Diego airport, a direct flight back to New York, and I remember walking past a bar because bars are prevalent in airports. I remember walking past it, and there's nothing. For me, there's something wrong with alcohol, not for everybody. But I walked past a bar, and my feeling was that just doesn't make sense to me. I don't want that, and that's what Ibogaine does. It kind of gets into your brain, into your soul, and it just I don't know what it is, and everyone has a different experience. But it's amazing. People should do it, and it works, and that's why the lawmakers will never let it come here.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to kind of start with that because I thought it was fun that you're starting to talk about that, because we need people that have a prominent voice to be able to, because it's, even like some people, all they know is it's Schedule I drug, and they associate it might as well be heroin as far as they're concerned.
It's not a drug.
Exactly.
It's a plant.
It is. It's a medicine.
Yeah, and it's natural. Like I said, it's been around forever and it works. And that's why a lot of these people don't like it, because, I mean, even look right now, the government, the Pentagon, wants to feed the troops lab-grown meat. And that's stupid. And then they're saying also that, because our number one concern in the Pentagon is climate change, which is bullshit. Our number one concern should be China.
Right.
And then why are you going to feed lab-grown meat when we know beef is fine? They're like, well, beef cattle, they fart. And that ruins it. It's like, as opposed to every other fucking animal that farts, it's just beef. And I'm convinced the reason they're trying to get rid of beef and trying to get rid of a lot of chickens and eggs is because this government knows that if they control the food, they control the people. And that's what they're doing. There's nothing, and the solar panels on the Pentagon, Chinese made, by the way, and then you need to back up with batteries, Chinese slave labor. You'd think that they don't give a shit.
Well, one thing I love about following you is you're not afraid to speak out on these issues, right?
Well, the thing is too, I'm not a Republican by any means. I'm certainly not a Democrat. I'm an American. And the reason that I'll say stuff on social media is because I care about this country. I care about the people who are here. And like one of the tweets I had the other day, because the thing that they're really pushing is diversity is our strength, and I think diversity is great, but unity is our strength.
Correct.
Diversity is what communists want us to do. They want us to divide ourselves.
Yeah, I always say the devil divides and God brings us together.
Yeah, seriously.
That's the difference.
Yeah. And there's so many, like we were just talking offline about normality in life. When you go outside, people are normal, and they really are. But it's the social media, it's the regular media that wants to divide us. That's an issue.
Yeah. Well, it gives you a little bit of a platform to stand on because of the effort you did, not just because of the Osama Bin Laden, killing and everything else, but all of your time served, all the missions. You did over 400 deployments, right?
Combat missions. Yeah.
Holy cow, man. So back us up a little bit. Why did you join the military? How did you choose which direction you were going to go with it all? And
I joined on accident. Whenever you brought up God, one of my favorite sayings is, whenever you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan, because there's a much different plan. Because my plan was to play college basketball, which I did, get an MBA, an MBA, not the NBA. I wasn't going there. I don't know if you noticed, I'm a 6 foot tall white guy. Yeah. John Stockton was already there. He covered the quota. But my plan was get an MBA and be a stockbroker with my father. That was my plan. And I was in Butte, Montana, playing at Montana Tech, which is a college, and I got dumped by a girl I was dating. And I was like, you know what? It's time to go. I got to get out of Butte, Montana. The easiest way out of Butte, Montana was to go join the Marine Corps. I have two friends, Ben and Jim, that joined. I went to high school. They were 2 years older than me. Go down, because they would come back on leave looking like Marines. I'm like, I want to be that. So I went to join the Marine Corps because it just looks cool. I want to be a sniper. I grew up hunting elk, hunting deer, went to Alaska to hunt caribou. And as luck would have it, the Marine recruiter was not in the office, but the Navy guy was. So right across the hall. And the only reason I went in there, because Ben and Jim, the two Marines I knew, they told me a joke. They said the Marine Corps is actually part of the Department of the Navy. It's just the men's department. That's the only reason I went in there, because I said, if anyone will know where the Marine is, you will. And this Navy recruiter, slick as hell in his khakis with his anchors for being a chief petty officer, he said, why do you want the Marine? And I said, I want to be a sniper. Marines have the best snipers in the world. He said, look no further. We have snipers here in the Navy. You need to become a Navy SEAL first, no big deal. Then we'll send you to sniper school. Kind of brush over that shit. And I'm standing there looking at this dude like, all right, I'm 19 years old. I'm kind of naive, but this is a professional recruiter. Why is he going to lie to me? So I signed it not knowing how to swim.
Joined the Navy not knowing how to swim.
To be a Navy SEAL. Didn't know how to swim. And what's cool about this in life, I'm a huge believer in the butterfly effect. That the smallest decision you made 30 years ago, good or bad, will affect you now. So I've got 4 daughters. My newest one, Valor, she's 4 months old. And I've told her, she doesn't understand it, but my other daughters who are college, I said, you got to realize if that Marine recruiter wasn't at Arby's, you wouldn't be alive. Because I would have gone to North Carolina, not Virginia Beach.
It really is wild to think about just one thing. We were at a
Think
dinner.
about it.
Well, we were at a dinner last night for some friends. And all the friends, there was 14 people there. It was my buddy's 40th birthday, my buddy Matt. And everybody at that table had met through this program that I do, my men's coaching program. And except for the two guys, the guy that first introduced me to him and me. And so long story short, I told the one guy, I said, dude, how did you first meet Matt? Because without you meeting him, none of us would have ever been here. And that's all of his best friends. And he says, I was during COVID, this real estate coach, we both were in his program, and he started having us get on Peloton and running together. And that's how these two met, through a Peloton running challenge during COVID. And if that hadn't happened, none of us are sitting there last night, this group of 14 close best friends. It's really wild.
That's how life works.
Yeah. So you end up joining by accident, and then immediately, though, you did want to be a SEAL, went into training for that.
The one piece of advice I got was from a buddy of mine I went to high school with, who joined the Army and wanted to be a Ranger, but he never went to Ranger school just because of whatever they do in the Army. And the advice he gave me was get it in writing. And I take that advice now, like in business. If someone says, hey, I don't do business with a contract, I shake hands. I'm like, cool, I'll shake your hand after you sign the fucking contract.
Right.
So he said, get it in writing. So I made sure that I got an attempt to go to SEAL training as long as I passed whatever. So I got that in writing, and I went to boot camp, and they gave me a shot at it, and I passed.
Wow.
I mean, but it was one of those. What I learned in Navy boot camp, because I'm being from Butte, Montana, it's kind of a bubble where everyone else has got to be better than you, because we're just from Butte. But when I got to boot camp in 1996, Navy boot camp, and I'm looking around at, like, there's dudes from Long Island. There was a dude from South Central LA, a gang member, just joined to avoid the gangs. A guy from South Florida. What I realized, what we have in common is everyone here thinks they made the worst decision in their lives. We're all normal. This is cool. So I got there, and then I ended up getting down to SEAL training, and it was, again, just one of those things where you can do whatever you want as long as you do it. Little goals equal big goals.
What do you mean? Yeah, just win the day every single day, and then it eventually...
Well, the way it was explained to me best, when I got down to SEAL training, I had because the first day we went into a room, we have 221 sailors that want to be SEALs, and everybody wants to be a SEAL. And I remember thinking, what makes me so special? Whatever. And you can talk, if you start talking yourself into quitting, you're going to quit. So just fuck that off. But the SEAL instructor came in there and said, okay, I know you guys have probably read the books and seen the movies. Regardless of what you've been told, however, this course is not impossible, okay? People graduate. Look at me. I'm living proof. So I will never ask you to do anything impossible, but I will make you do something very hard, followed immediately by something very hard, followed by something very hard, day after day after day for 8 straight months. And that sounds like a lot to get from now to 8 months from now, but don't think about it that way, because that's not how you achieve a long-term goal. You get through SEAL training like this. Wake up in the morning on time, make your bed the right way, and then brush your teeth. That's 3 victories. You just started your day with 3 wins. Not bad. Make it to the 4 a.m. workout on time. And as I'm beating you during that workout, don't think about the pain. Concentrate on your next goal in life, which is making it to breakfast. After breakfast, your next goal in life is lunch. After lunch, your next goal in life is dinner. After dinner, do everything you need to do to get back inside that perfectly made bed. And because you took the time in the morning to make your bed the right way, regardless of how bad today was, and it will be bad, tomorrow is a clean slate. Tomorrow is a fresh start. And when you feel like quitting, which you will, do not quit right now. That's emotion. Quit tomorrow. And if you can keep quitting tomorrow, you can do anything. In life, you can do anything. Like right now, we're having a shitty day. Fuck it. I'm going to quit tomorrow. I'll get through today, get back in that bed. I'll quit tomorrow. And then tomorrow, I'll just quit tomorrow.
I love that. It's, one of the sayings that one of my buddies always says, he's like, never quit out on a bad day. Like, quit if you're having a great day.
Yes.
Because if you can quit on a great day,
that's brilliant.
Then you know that it was time to quit. But don't quit when you're in the rough.
Yep.
Don't quit when it's getting hard, and in the moment when the emotion's taking over.
Yeah. Well, I had a dude in my class who's an admiral now, which tells me how old I am. He was an ensign, which is the lowest ranking officer in the Navy. He just graduated the Naval Academy. His name was Tom Donovan. I checked in. I'm Airman Apprentice O'Neill, and I remember walking up to him saying, man, this is tough for me, but it's got to be tough for you, because I'm scared, but you're in charge. And he looked at me and literally goes, why are you scared? I'm like, well, that's a good point. He goes, these are just dudes doing a job, and they're going to yell at you. I mean, they're not going to kill you. I'm like, that's awesome. He's an admiral now too. Maybe I should have followed him.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Well, you were a part of a lot of very big missions, famous missions, ones that were, Captain Phillips, Lone Survivor, and then of course with, Osama Bin Laden.
Yeah.
How many more missions were that amazing or extreme that we never hear about or that you were a part of?
It's not the missions that you hear about that are crazy. It's the ones you don't, because when you first go to war, you assume there's going to be a suicide bomber around every corner, but there's not. What you slowly realize is that people in Iraq, people in Afghanistan, they're trying to do what we're trying to do, and that's just raise their family and get on with their fucking lives. And so 8 out of 10 targets are what we call either dry holes or not a target. So you're going every night, and it's mundane, and like literally handing cash to the person who just blew their door up because you're the wrong person. The ones that are bad is when you try to take a shortcut. It's like, dude, it's been 9 days in a row. It took us 2 hours to insert. We go inside. Let's just fly right to the target. We'll land in their yard, and no one will be there. And we'll come back home, we'll eat chow, and then we'll play Xbox. We'll play Halo all night. That's the one where 7 Al-Qaeda fighters come out and start shooting you. That's the one where you get killed. And what I learned on these missions, those missions in particular, was never talk yourself into an ass whooping, and don't die because you got bored. Ooh. And the way that works is don't take a shortcut, because a shortcut's going to catch you in the ass. Do everything like you do anything. We make rules because... we don't make rules. So my wife works in the power line construction industry, believe it or not. And I tell the linemen, look, you're not up there on the poles for 10 hours simply because I need you to work for 10 hours. That is the safest way to get from A to B without killing yourself. If we come up with a better way, fine, tell everyone, and then always follow your rules. And you can't reiterate enough, don't die because you got bored. And, it's a bullet needs to be right once. And that... if you get caught with a bullet in the head, that ends everything you thought was important. Every credit card bill, the mortgage, it's all gone because you got bored. So even like the Bo Bergdahl. Remember Bo Bergdahl, the Army dude that walked off the base?
Okay.
I was on his base when he walked off. I'm like the Forrest Gump of the Navy. Only
you had all the big experiences.
But I had a Green Beret tell me, you're like the Forrest Gump of the Navy, only you're not as good looking, you can't run as fast. I'm not sure how to take that. But the way we would work overseas was we'd wake up about 2 hours before the sun goes down, go to the, grab some coffee, go to the Tactical Operations Center and find out, what the intel dudes have been doing. I walked over there. We're in, I think, Logar Province, Afghanistan. And they said, yeah, this dude walked off the base. And I go, hold up, what do you mean he walked off? Yeah, this dude walked off. Oh shit, why? And they're like, well, because he thought whatever. And I'm like, oh, we got to grab this guy. This is bad. We actually intercepted this. This might be an exclusive. We intercepted phone conversations with the local villagers and the Taliban, and they said, hey, we found this American soldier. Do you want him? And the Taliban said, what do you mean you found him? They said, we found him on the side of the road taking a shit. And the Taliban's response was, oh, we want him, and he'll never shit right again.
Wow.
Yeah, it's deep. And then we heard that, and we're like, yeah, we got to go find this motherfucker. But I mean, those are the missions every night. But it's you got to fight the boredom too, because like a winter in Afghanistan sucks because there's nothing going on. And if you go 8-10 days without a mission, someone might say, hey, we got to do a mission. We got to go out there, and I'd be like, why?
Yeah, I think that's where like police officers can get in trouble, right? When nothing's wrong and they start creating problems instead of just helping when they're needed. Yes.
And if you're not, guess what? Don't enjoy your Salisbury steak, play Halo, go to sleep.
Well, there's something about humans is like we need problems or challenges. And so when, unfortunately, we kind of see this with our whole society right now. It's so good in 2024 as far as like we don't have in America like those threats like, where you're going to get food, for the most part where you're going to be safe. You don't have these huge problems that society has always had in the history of mankind. So we create all of our own problems. Every problem we have right now, we have created. We don't have real threats coming from the outside anymore. They're all from the inside. And I think that's dangerous.
I mean, and that's like life. Most of the shit you're worried about, 90% of it's in your head. Get over it.
Yeah. Well, I like what you said too, because I think even with like, with a relationship, for example, with a spouse, where you get in trouble is when you start to let that boredom take in and you don't pay attention to the little things. It's the little things every day. It's like, wait, did I try 5 or 10 times today to make my spouse smile? Did I do things that would make their day better?
It is the little things, yeah.
Those tiny little things, they make all the difference.
Yeah.
And anybody that's been in a tactical type of career like you have, how important every single door you have to check. It's the one time you don't do it.
That's
you're
right.
Get the bullet in the head.
And one of the most depressing things that I've dealt with, because I've never had one of my, I've never had a guy on my team get hurt. I've never had a guy get killed next to me because I always followed the rules, and that's what we did. But other guys took shortcuts too, and I'm not, obviously not trying to say anything bad about them. But what sucks is talking to some of these Gold Star families, and I will seriously say, hey, when your son was killed, what was the name of the guy he was going after again? Well, we don't know. Yeah, you don't know. Why did he go after him? What the fuck were you doing? And it frustrates me because you get further up the echelon when you get into politics, like senior officers, senior enlisted that are trying to get that job at Raytheon or at Boeing or whatever. They're going to start pushing the politics. And the problem is too with the crappy retention, the crappy recruiting is guys like I got out of 17 years as a senior enlisted guy. There are great officers getting out as lieutenants commander or majors. Those are the guys that should be running the Pentagon. It's the other guys that are going to, they're looking for their 7-figure salary. It's bullshit. And then they're pushing the dude. Look at what they just did with the draft, with the selective service.
Yeah, I saw that they're basically anyone 18 to 26. I mean, what is even going on with all that?
Well, I mean, I think it's a felony now if you don't get into the selective service. And before I know you had to. You know what was amazing about that, though, is as soon as they said all males from 18 to 26, everyone all of a sudden knew if they were a man or a woman, didn't they? Wow.
Well, here's the thing is, but you start seeing all these different things that are happening, the military, unfortunately, I feel like it doesn't feel like it's one big unit anymore. It feels like it used to be. Right. It feels like it used to be, and now it's like...
The thing with the military that, when I was getting out, so my last deployment to Afghanistan was 2011, 2012. After the Bin Laden raid, I went over one more time, and I knew I was going to get out in August of 2012. And I was sitting around one of our bee huts, or whatever they call them, these big cardboard boxes we live in, and the big push was don't ask, don't tell, which is fine. I don't care. And I remember looking at my guys like, I've got like 30 dudes there, and I said, I know goddamn well a lot of you guys are gay. I don't care. So we got white guys, black guys, we got Asian dudes, and I said, all I care about, tell me if I'm wrong, all I care about is if I get shot and I'm wearing all my shit, can you carry me out? Can you get me home to my wife? That's all and everyone agreed. That's all we care about. But then the politics make it into something that it's not. The military never cared about that bullshit. They don't care.
Well, and it goes back as they're trying to divide for whatever reason. The politicians, that's how they stay in power. Of course, they get one side to fight the other side.
Yeah, and it's the same names. The same names. When we invaded Iraq in 1991, Chuck Schumer was there, the guy that can't cook a fucking burger. Did you see that picture?
I did. Yeah.
Talk about it.
Well, it's funny because we all kind of know that politics is bullshit, and that these politicians, they're not actually out there cooking their food. But it's just funny when they, screw it up that bad, and the dude's got a burger that hasn't
you would think his publicist would have said, "Hey, Chuck, hold on, the burger's got to be cooked before you put the cheese on it."
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just proof. 49 years in politics, he has no idea. That's how out of play. And what's funny about that too, that's how out of step he is with the country.
With reality, yeah.
However, trust him. He doesn't know how to cook a burger. Trust him about the weather in 50 years. So turn off your gas stove.
Yeah. So what is the biggest threat facing America today?
China.
China.
Yeah, no doubt.
How come?
Because they're fighting a 5th generation war right now with TikTok. TikTok started it. And what they're doing is they figured out an algorithm to get it into... If you control the youth, if you control the media, if you control Hollywood and the universities, you win.
Well, they already control Hollywood because you can't make a movie now if they don't... They have to make it so that China approves of it because that's where they make all their money.
The NBA. China's got this theory, and it goes back to Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War, and their tactics. What I love about Sun Tzu, and I recommend everyone read Sun Tzu.
Yeah, it's one of the best books ever written.
Ever. But because what he does is keeps it simple. And even people ask me about the Bin Laden raid. How did you clear a compound that big? It's like, well, it was simple. If the guy in front of me went left, I went right, and we did that over and over. So one of Sun Tzu's tactics was they called it letting a fire burn from across a river. So they start the fire, go across the river, and then what they do is they watch the locals kill each other. And they wait until they're exhausted, and then they send fresh troops in. That's what China's doing. China did it with TikTok because they started an algorithm. We're the only country in the world that makes our kids hate ourselves.
Yeah.
That's why everyone's racist. We're colonizers. That's why you see this. You see this shit on Columbia University where these idiots that are getting a degree in God knows what, queers for Palestine. Do you know what the Palestinians would do to them? And no idea.
Yeah, I like when people say, like, well, why don't you go over there and go ahead and let them know that's what you're doing.
They're so bad, they're laughing at us. They're laughing at the fact that our stupid ass college kids are cheering for them, knowing what they do to them. But what you do is you let it. So what China did, the way they started TikTok is we got to find a celebrity, pay him off, which is Jimmy Fallon. And Jimmy Fallon he's got a big platform, and he said, hey, I got this new thing called TikTok, and he showed a video. Now everyone download TikTok, and they did. And that's what China did to them. There's a different algorithm between China and the United States. And the Chinese kids get like 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day, whatever. I might be wrong.
Right.
And then they're off. Our kids, they sit there and stare at the phone.
I think 7.5 hours a day or something.
It's crazy.
Like that,
and they're feeding them with nonsense. And what they do is they embed it in funny videos. So, because I don't have TikTok, I never would. But I've watched it with people, and there's some funny videos, but there will be that third one that is anti-American, anti-Abraham Lincoln, anti-George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, whatever, and then back to some dude dancing with his dog, and we laugh. China doesn't do that. It's pro-China. It's pro-everything. And China's our biggest enemy. No doubt about it.
No, it's good foresight from somebody that's paying attention. It will, and I think with the borders and everything else, and you being former military, how concerned should people be about like everything that's going on with this current government is doing?
Well, I mean, they should have been concerned a long time ago. And the issue is, we're so reactionary that you're not going to hear about it until the next attack comes, which will be huge.
Right.
And it's going to be ISIS or Al Qaeda. Al Qaeda is stronger than they ever were. And one of the big things they said to us was, Americans have the clocks, but we have the time. And they're fighting the 1,000-year war. China's fighting the 5,000-year war. I mean, China's still pissed about the opium wars back in the 17 or 1800s when that's why they were supplying opium to American troops in Vietnam. There's still fentanyl. 100,000 people. Okay, 100,000 Americans are dying a year of fentanyl from the processing plants in Mexico and Canada. Not a word about 100,000 Americans. How 0 Americans are dying from climate change. That's all we hear about.
Yeah.
This is the nonsense that China is. And don't think for us. Like, when's the last time Eric Swalwell mentioned China? He won't. You know why? Because his pockets are fat as shit. Any California congressman or senator, have they ever mentioned? I think it was Barbara Boxer that had a Chinese spy driving her for 20 years.
Had no idea.
Oh yeah. They're everywhere. Fang, the honeypot. Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
What was that? Those hot air balloon things that were going across the country last year, and they just let them.
They went over every major nuclear site to see what we would do, knowing we would do nothing. Recording it real time. We finally shoot it down, sort of, over the Atlantic Ocean, and everyone's like, no, it's fine. They didn't get anything. Yeah, they fucking did. China just bought a major deep water megaport in South America.
I saw that.
Yeah, and they're saying, oh, it's just for commerce. Yeah, is that right? And while there's nuclear subs with hypersonic missiles in Cuba, just for commerce, we got a president who can't get a fucking sentence together. You should be concerned.
Oh no! And that's one of the reasons why I kind of watch what people like you have to say about it, because I assume people that have fought for the country, they care the most, and so you guys tend to have the best answers to really what's going on, or at least the most knowledge as far as what is happening.
I mean, but it's almost like I don't want to be "I told you so." I don't,
because that doesn't even help, right?
No,
it's like,
and I fought for I'm to the point now where I don't think I fought for the country. I fought for some politician's view on something.
I've heard a lot of military guys say that. They feel like part of the depression problem with military guys is they feel like they didn't fight for what they thought they were.
What I need to tell the veterans, too, is like, look, you get to a point when you go through a door in Fallujah that you're not fighting for George Bush or his dad. You're fighting for the guy behind you or the woman behind you or in front of you. That's what I fight for.
Is there a feeling, though, of like we shouldn't be here in the first place?
Iraq, it wasn't at first. I was 27 years old when we invaded Iraq, and all I wanted to.
It was right after 9/11.
I would have invaded Canada at that point. But now that you think about it, I mean, there are points now that there are particular guys that I think of that I killed. And I remember one dude in particular that I killed in his, I shot his buddy, and then I came through his room. I killed him in front of his wife in a bedroom because he went for a gun. And I think about him now, and it's like, all right, why did I kill that guy? Well, because he went for a gun. Okay, but why did he go for a gun? Well, because I was in his fucking room at 2 a.m. Well, why was I in his room at 2 a.m? Well, because George fucking Bush was pissed that Saddam Hussein allegedly wanted to kill his dad, so we invaded. So now here I am because of a political... And then I start to think, what was this guy funny? What if I met him in Paris over a coffee? Would we have actually liked each other and I just kill him because a politician sent us here for weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist?
That's deep, man.
It's serious.
That's tough.
I talked to, I got a buddy, Dakota Meyer, who's a Medal of Honor recipient, literally killed guys hand to hand in one of the worst valleys in the world. And we've talked, and it's like, The only reason we were killing each other is because we were born on different parts of the world. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Have you ever heard of? Well, what's interesting is when you go to these places too, and you've actually seen the people. So I've been to. You said you've been to 70 countries. I've been to over 100 countries now, and I do that because when you go and you see these people and you sit there, like, I've been to Palestine, I've been to Israel, I've been to some of these other places, and all of a sudden it's like, can we just be? Like, for me, it's like, I understand the value of having to protect and defend and all those things, but like when you start seeing Ukraine and some of these things that are happening right now, of like putting us in these wars that there's just no winners. And when you've been to those countries, it's like, damn, like those are real people. I watched real people there, and it doesn't feel real from the United States because we just see it on TV. But like when you've walked those streets, it just hits you different.
It does. Well, the United States, we've been protected by two things called the Atlantic and the Pacific. When you get over to a place like, I've been to Ukraine. I was in Ukraine in 1998, and I could have told you right then that Ukraine is the most corrupt government in the world. However, working for a corrupt government at 20 years old is amazing. We had everything. And then being over in Israel, it's good, but these are the politicians running it. However, when you get deeper into it, some of the most welcoming people I met were in Afghanistan. Marcus Luttrell, a buddy of mine, lone survivor, I was on the mountain for that. All you have to do is ask them for help, and I'm including your enemy.
They have to do it, right?
No, they want to. It's like, hey, my bad. I need your help, and they will help you. The Palestinians are realizing Hamas is bad. They voted for him. Look, bad call. They don't like getting bombed. I don't like them getting bombed. I've been to war so much. I hate war. They hate war. Get rid of the assholes. The guys that are not taking the ceasefire or Hamas, and they're living in Qatar. 3 of them. Worth $5 billion. Cigars, Russian hookers, they don't give a fuck about the Palestinians. That's where the conversation needs to be had. I mean, Israel's defending it. Israel was born because we needed a place for Jewish people to defend themselves. That's it. And the Palestinians are there too. But Hamas, the PLO, they get in there and their political agenda while they're sipping martinis. They don't give a fuck about the people. And they're the ones that put they put their headquarters below the hospitals, below the schools, knowing that, well, it's a risk we're worth taking. And you offer them a fucking ceasefire, and Hamas says nope. And then these fuckers on these American campuses who have no idea what that means, they're yelling about free intifada. Do they know what that means? No idea. When they say from the river to the sea, okay, just ask them what river, what sea. No idea. You could show them Brazil. Say here's the Atlantic, here's the Amazon. This is Palestine. Yeah, free Palestine. No, that's South America. You horse's ass. No idea. But because our public school system is dumbing people down. What the public school system wants to do, and this started I think in the 1920s. All they want to do is make you a good worker. What do you learn in public? Look, think about this. What's the worst thing you can do to a 6-year-old boy? When the sun's out like it is today, sit him in a classroom. Make him look at stupid shit and regurgitate.
Yeah, and then say that he has ADD
give him,
because he doesn't want to sit there for 8 hours.
Give him if you think, I'm about to get deep with you. What are 3 things that look common? Hospitals, jails, and schools. Same colors, same windows. Sit them down, Adderall. And then you could be in the middle of you don't learn this way. A great conversation, the bell rings, fuck it, I'm out. No, you don't learn that way. They're teaching you, get in line, listen to authority, get downgraded, good worker.
Yeah, well, I think it's even deeper than that. I think the school system was designed from the very same people that owned all the factories.
Of course they were.
They literally put all the money into it and donated all this money for the schools and the universities to be this certain way.
They do not want you to learn anything.
Yeah.
Be a good worker. The SATs, are you kidding me? I mean, everything from the teachers' unions, they don't give a shit about students. They care about the teachers' unions. That's why they wanted to stay closed during COVID.
Right, because they didn't have to do shit.
They don't give a shit. They want to donate to the Democrats. Whatever. And I'm not defending Republicans. These are horrible people. That's it.
So you got the election coming up this year. Are you an RFK guy? Or what's your take on him?
I honestly think that RFK is coming around. He's very far left. No, I'm a liberal as far as social
issues. Sure.
Yeah. Like some of my best friends are gay dudes that I love. Like I got a pair of gay dudes. I go to a movie once a year on Halloween to this place where they serve milkshake and we just scream. It's amazing. I think but once you start intruding on someone else's life, that's a problem. And me too. Like I like to do certain shit that I shouldn't do in front of kids. They're just pushing it on kids. Yeah. I'm not a Republican because I think they're weak as shit. I'm not a Democrat because I think they're corrupt as fuck. I'm an American. And Trump should win. I'm voting for him.
Yeah. Well, there's so many different things that, I read something recently that said, man, they better get their next pandemic in order real quick because Trump looks like he's going to run away with this thing,
Well, no, I mean,
if they don't come up with something crazy, it looks like Trump should win.
Bird flu or some bullshit, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Joe Biden's not going to be he's not going to be the guy.
No.
I think it'll be Hillary.
Really? You think they'll bring Hillary back?
There's no way in hell Joe Biden will not be on the ticket. No way. The only way they can win is Michelle Obama. And she's not going to, her life is too good.
Sure.
Yeah, and I've met her. She's awesome, by the way. And I love Barack Obama. I honestly do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because I'm kind of a guy that I don't let politics get in the way of shit. Like I disagree with.
Well, Obama's a guy you definitely would go hang out with, and at least he stood for stuff. I mean, the thing I like about Obama is you at least knew where he was. Yeah. You knew what he was talking about, and he was so well spoken.
Even if you disagree with his policies, you can listen to him.
Right.
And he looks like a fucking leader, and he's cool. When we were doing the Bin Laden raid, our plan was 2 helicopters. We're going to go in here, whatever. And if they show up, what we're going to do is hard point this. And it's not going to be the Pac Mill. It's going to be the Pakistani police. We don't want to kill anyone. So you're going to need to send someone here because we can't get out, and you need to negotiate, and blah, blah, blah. We presented this to President Obama. And he was like, okay, roger that. And he turned to the chief of staff of the Air Force and said, what do you need to rain hell on Pakistan? My fucking guys aren't surrendering to anybody. We're like, that is some Southside Chicago politics, baby.
I love that. Well, let's get into that, dude, because that was, what was that, 2011?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've been in a SEAL for how long at that point?
Oh, shit, 15 years.
Okay. And so your team gets the call. Where were you at when you guys found out you were
I was in Miami, Florida. We had just finished, I think it was my 12th deployment to Afghanistan. Oh, I'm sorry, 12th deployment in between Iraq and Afghanistan, combat deployments. And what we would do, I'm a big believer in keep morale high. If your team wants to be at work, they're going to work harder. So there's nothing wrong with saying please and thank you for normal work. Nothing wrong with cracking a joke. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want you to be here. So what I was planning I was the senior enlisted advisor in Afghanistan for outstations doesn't matter. And what I was planning was a trip for my team, my troop, to go to Miami to scuba dive, because we thought Bin Laden was gone. Like, we're never going to find him. Our big concern is Somali pirates off the coast of Somalia, in between that and Yemen. How can we dive? Closed circuit dive to them. They would do motherships and then send ships, mothership and then send boats off to attack ships. How can we attack a mothership diving in currents? So we went to Miami to try to do that. But it's a good deal trip because we're gonna get up, we're gonna work out, we're gonna go dive, 2 dives, 4 hours apiece, done by 5. We're gonna come back. We got a great hotel on South Beach, eat dinner, party a little bit, and we're gonna work. That's going to be a great trip. So we're down in Miami doing that shit. And guys would always do that. We had a bunch of dudes that were rock climbing, but they're in Vegas. We had guys skydiving, but they're in Phoenix. Like, dudes are keeping it real. And then we got a call. Like, we're outside and we're discussing, rehashing what we just did that day. And we're watching the sun. It's going that way because we're in Florida, having some cocktails. And all of a sudden they said, hey, we need you and you. You're going back to Virginia Beach now. I'm like, son of a fuck. I've been planning this trip. All right, so we go back, fly to Virginia Beach, a couple of us. And so we're at SEAL Team 6, and this is a Tier 1 unit, and we got a bunch of dudes in this room, and they call 28 of us into this room. So we can't even bring so this is tip of the spear, but you're not welcome, you're welcome. So we get into a room, and we're kind of like, what is this? And they said, well, this is not a drill. We found a thing, and this thing is in a house, and this house is in a bowl. And this bowl is in a country, and you guys are going to fly in, and you're going to get this thing, you're going to bring it back to us, and that's the mission. And we're like, okay.
Are they normally this vague with missions?
No.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, what's the thing? Can't tell you. Okay. Hey, where's the country? Can't tell you. All right. How are we getting there? Can't tell you. How much air support do we have? They said none. Like, okay, that's an answer. Fuck. So we're trying to figure this shit out, and they're being very ambiguous. And so this is about March of 2011, and so we're assuming it's the Arab Spring when there was uprising in Tunisia, uprising in Egypt, and it spilled over to Libya. Mm-hmm. So we're assuming that we're going to get Muammar Gaddafi because he's the leader of Libya. That's got to be it. So we're going to go in there, get him, pull him out. That's fine, whatever. Then they said, oh, by the way, because of weight of fuel, we're not bringing Air Force. Now, Air Force guys would come with Navy SEALs because they're the medics, the PJs. It's basically like flying a surgeon who could shoot with you, and then the CCT, which are the most dangerous men in the world. They're the true silent professionals. CCT can call in everything, and they'll whatever. You're not bringing any of them. All Navy SEALs for weight. So, figure it out. So we're trying to figure this out. We're working our gear. We get to Friday, and it's okay. Go home right now. Be with your kids. Be with your wife. Sunday, come back here at 7 a.m. We're going to drive to a place in North Carolina. We're going to read you in on what's going on. So we're getting ready to get up, and I raise my hand. I'm like, okay, who's going to be at the read-in? We still don't know what it is. Well, who's going to be at the read-in? And the boss looks at me and goes, fuck, it's the vice president, the secretary of defense, the secretary of the Navy, and we're like, holy shit. They're going down the list, like State Department, this. And one thing they said was CTC pad and blah, 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 blah. They're going down, and I caught that. No one else did. CTC pad is the CIA counterterror desk, Pakistan, Afghanistan. So I go home, and I'm like, if we're going to Libya, why would Pac Afghan, whatever. So we come back in Sunday morning. We're driving down. They split us up 4 dudes per van. We're driving these Navy vans down to North Carolina. I'm sitting in back. My buddy's driving. I got another buddy here. My boss is next to me. I explained to him exactly what I just explained to you. And I said, this isn't Gaddafi. They found Osama Bin Laden. So my boss looks at me and goes, that's exactly what I was thinking. So we're not excited. We're just kind of talking back and forth. My buddy Mac D is driving. He looks at me in the rearview mirror, shit you not, and he goes, man, O'Neill, if we kill Osama Bin Laden, I will suck yo dick. So 3 weeks to the day, we're standing over Bin Laden's body, and I look at him and I go, hey, Mac D, now's as good a time as any. He goes, oh, fuck you. I'm like, your bet.
Wait, did you really say that right
there?
Oh,
yeah, in his house. So we get down to this thing, and Captain Van Hoosier's there. Admiral Bill McCraven's coming down, who's a fucking stud. And I look over the corner. There's 4 people, 3 chicks, 1 dude, and I don't recognize them. So they come up, and they start talking. And this is actually because I was working with the CIA for a long time, and I was convinced like the CIA is not as cool as they think they are. They watch too many movies about the CIA. These people are cool, really cool. And then Captain Van Hoosier comes up, and he looks at the team and says, all right, the reason you guys are here is this is as close as we've ever been to Osama Bin Laden. So I'm looking around at my boys, and the response was, cool, we going now? And then the woman that found Bin Laden, she gets up, she starts telling us how she found him. She gets 3 hours into this brief how she found him. We're finally like, look, I just believe you.
Yeah, I don't even know how the electricity works.
I have a sledgehammer and a gun. You tell me where to go, and I'll go in there for you. She was so awesome, so cool. And then we started training on the raid, the exterior, working through contingencies. We've got the helicopters, we've got the dog.
Did you guys train for one of the helicopters could go down?
No,
really?
No, we trained on. Basically the perfect plan. Then what are the contingencies? Okay, 1 car leaves. 1 guy does this, whatever. And we're training. So my buddy Cheese, Will Chesney, who wrote a book called No Ordinary Dog. He brought Cairo in there. No Ordinary Dog. Read that book. Amazing. So Cheese is the youngest guy in the room. The only reason, not that he's not a great SEAL, but the only reason he's invited to this mission is because he has Cairo, the dog. We got to bring him. And so we're doing whatever, and we have this 2-scale model of Bin Laden's house. We're very tired. We're working 15 hours a day. And the boss said, what's the worst thing that could happen? And Cheese goes, the helicopter could crash in the front yard. And we're just like, what the fuck? And he's like, I don't know, maybe we should talk about that for 30 seconds. And that's exactly what happened. Wow. 30 seconds, and that's your mission.
Damn. So when you guys actually head out, you had what, a team of about 30? Is that what it?
23.
23.
We had 28 because we had alternates in case someone got hurt. Got
it. And did you know that were you supposed to be the one taking the shot?
Oh, no. I was.
How did that come about?
No. I was on the rooftop team. The perfect plan was, we again keeping it simple. We had 2 helicopters, Dash 1, Dash 2. Dash 1 is going to fly him. So the way it worked was there's a big mud wall around his entire compound, about 15, 18 feet high. Dash 1's going to stop here and hover. Kick ropes out, dudes are going to fast rope. And again, a fast rope is simple. Kick a rope out, go down it fast.
It's not just
so 2 snipers are looking this way. They're going to so we're going to drop off an interpreter, the dog, and a machine gunner and sniper. Then my team's going to go to the rooftop. We're going to fast rope here, jump onto Bin Laden's balcony, and we're going to get in a gunfight through the glass. That's the plan. And we're going to get blown up. I was so convinced I called my team the Martyr Brigade.
Yeah, you guys were basically told you're not coming back. Is that correct?
One-way mission.
Wow.
But because of what happened, when we got in there, they crashed. Our pilot put guys out, looked up, and realized and he set us back down. And through effective communication, he was saying, get out. So we just get out. But because we took the time to prepare, I remember putting my right foot down, looking at Bin Laden's house over that 18-foot wall. I remember thinking, fuck it, I guess we start the war from here. I know damn well that off to my left, there's a double door on the mud wall. I'm like, we're going to breach that door. So I call a breacher. And a breacher is methods of entry. He's going to get you in the house. So we go up there, and he decided to use a 7-foot charge of C6, which the only way I can describe that is it's like a master key. It's going to open the door. He puts a C6 charge up. We back off. He blows it. It opens like a tin can. There's a brick wall. We can't get in. And he looks back and goes, failed breach. This is bad. I said, no, this is good. That's a fake door. Nobody does that. I know damn well there's another door over here. We've seen cars come in and out. So we get there. And what I heard them saying was dash one going around. I'm assuming they took fire. What they were saying was dash one going down. So we get to that door. I said, hey, this is so-and-so. I'm going to put another charge on the carport. And someone said, no, don't blow it. We'll open it. I still didn't know they crashed, but the door opens and a thumb came out with a glove that I recognize. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter how they got in there. They're just there. And that's a point that I make when I talk to pro football teams, especially the offense. I tell them, it doesn't matter why it's 2nd and 15, guys. It just is. And what we have in common is that clock is ticking. What are you going to do? So we go in. I was so confused. The 2 pilots and the 2 air crew were standing there because they crashed the helicopter.
But none of them, they crashed, but they were all okay.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah.
And my guys are inside in a gunfight. I walk past these 4 dudes. They're wearing different uniforms. They have American flags. I remember looking at these guys, and I go, who the fuck are you? Anyway, so we're going to go in Bin Laden's house. There's a gunfight going on. And one of my guys actually shot one of the couriers, I think Al-Kuwaiti, and his wife jumped. He killed her too. So I'm getting ready to get in the fight, and this guy looks, and I've been at war with him for 10 years, and he looks at me and goes, she just jumped in front of him. Am I going to be okay? Am I going to jail? And I go, bro, let's kill Bin Laden. We'll talk about that. Fucking, come on. So we get in the house, whatever, and then we're going down a long hallway on the first floor, and I hop into a room, and one of my jokes is, I hope you're never in this position, but if you're ever in a gunfight in a house, get out of the hallway.
Yeah.
That's just good business.
Yeah.
So I get out of the hallway and I'm watching, and I remember being so proud of my guys because they know the house can blow up. I'm looking for bombs, but they're just doing their job. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. They go kick the door, mechanical, explosive. And I'm in this room, and the guy next to me who was in the helicopter, I didn't know they crashed still. And he goes, hey bro, helicopter crashed. And I said, what helicopter? And he goes, bro, ours, you walked right past it. I'm like, oh, anyway, so the sniper from my helicopter and Cheese and Cairo, the dog, their job was to run around the entire compound twice to make sure no one escaped. As I'm having this conversation, the sniper, he got to the wall where the tail of that helicopter was over the side, and he came over the radio and goes, bro, everyone inside, be on alert. They're ready for us. They have a training mock-up of our super secret helicopter in the front yard. and then the boss comes over, and he goes, no, you jackass, that's ours because we crashed. Yeah. And the sniper goes, yeah, that makes a lot more sense than the shit I was just saying. Carry on.
This is like happening in real time.
Yeah. These are the jokes that they're...
Of course.
And we don't talk much, but to hear this shit, it's like, we're literally... Well, even on the flight in, I remember I'm sitting in a chair next to Cairo, and I was counting 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to 0, a 90-minute flight because we can get blown up at any second. And I'm looking around to see what dudes are doing to chill the fuck out. One of my guys was asleep and I look at him, I'm like, you're literally asleep on the ride to Osama Bin Laden's house. Like, you have ice in your veins, and I see why women find you attractive. Anyway, so then we start going up the stairs. So I'm about 7 guys back. The woman that found Bin Laden said, I don't know where it's going to be, but there will be a stairwell going to the 2nd floor. And when you get there, you will run into Khalid Bin Laden. He's 20 years old. He'll be armed. If you can ace him, you have a shot at the big guy. That's what she said. So we got back there. I'm looking up the stairs. My buddy's in front. Khalid's there. He jumps behind a banister. And normally in a gunfight going upstairs, I'm going to pull some dudes out because if they start chucking grenades, you're having a bad day. But I'm like, we're going to die anyway. I got to see what he does. And the point man, they're separated by 10 inches. And he said something like, Khalid, Rafai Dek, Delta Rush, something like that. Come here. And Khalid looked over and he killed him. Then we go up to the 2nd set of stairs, and everyone splits off, 2nd floor. And then all of a sudden, I'm number 2 guy behind the number 1 guy. We're pointing up a set of stairs. He'd already taken a shot. And the way that it works is the number one guy is pointing, the number two guy has to control him, and I'm looking for other dudes. Like, I want 4 more guys, because we're going to go up that set of stairs. Bin Laden's right there. I want 4. I'll take 2, but I want 4. And the point man is just, he doesn't know it's me, but he knows it's one of his guys. Mm-hmm. And he starts saying, and we don't talk, but he starts going, hey man, we got to go. We got to go. He's looking up the stairs behind a curtain, and he can see people moving. And now he's assuming those are the suicide bombers. We got to go, man. Hey, we got to go. And so I'm holding him by his shoulder, and he finally said, hey man, these bitches is getting truculent. So I have him by the shoulder, and I'm about to say my last joke in life. I whisper to him, I don't think that word means what you think it means. And it wasn't bravery. I'm like, I want to get it over with. Go. So he goes up the stairs, pulls it aside. There's 2 people there. He jumps on them because he assumed they were suicide bombers. So the guy in front of me took the blast for me to get the shot. So he did that. I turned to the right. Here's Osama Bin Laden standing there. I'm all in front of him. I recognize his nose. He's not surrendering. He's a threat. I shot him twice, shot him again, and then pulled them all in and grabbed. And then I can hear Bin Laden taking his last breath. And his son Hussein, who's 2 years old, is there. And I've got Amal Bin Laden here. And as a father, I look down at his 2-year-old son Hussein. I'm like, this poor kid's got nothing to do with this, man.
You had that thought in that moment.
Oh yeah. So I grabbed him because I know other Navy SEALs they're about to come in. I want to protect these 2 now. So Amal's here, and then Hussein, and I put him on the bed, and other SEALs are coming in, and I'm standing there, and it's starting to hit me. And one of my boys, actually the guy who was driving the vehicle down to Cherry Point, North Carolina, he comes up and he goes, his words were, hey homie, you good? And I said, no, what are we supposed to do now? And he goes, now we find the computers. You've done this hundreds of times, man, all over. I was like, yeah, you're right. Holy shit. And he goes, yeah, you just killed Osama Bin Laden. Your life just changed. Get to fucking work.
Get to work.
And I'm like, you're welcome.
What a moment, man.
Yeah, just fast though. Good guys.
Wow. And so after that, I mean, how did your life change after that moment?
I mean, I don't know. Well, the issue was everyone, including guys in the house, every Navy SEAL asked the same question. When they found out Bin Laden was dead, they said, who got him? Yeah. And so my nickname was Nizro, Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill. They called me Nizro. It just rolled off the tongue.
Yeah, it's a nice little nickname.
But I'm known for telling stories, telling jokes and shit. And so who got him? They said Nizro. And the common response was, oh shit, we're never going to hear the end of this shit.
Is that, I've heard some controversy like that you're not supposed to even talk about who actually got the shots.
It was, the toothpaste came out of the tube so fast.
Yeah.
There was I didn't want it to come out. No, it was so fast. When people were asking that, then dudes would call home. I had a buddy that was a Navy SEAL who was a fellow at the White House. He called down to Virginia Beach, said, yeah, it was your boy that got him. New York knew, San Diego knew. There was no getting away from it.
So was there animosity because of that, or no?
Yeah, probably. Well, you got to figure it's a tier 1 level. These are the best shooters in the world.
Sure.
And now we're down to the best 23 in the world. And everybody had the chance. And all I was doing was watching. Sure. And I followed a brave guy. I was not brave. My thoughts going up the last set of stairs were, let's get this over with. I just turned a corner. He went left, I went right, like I said earlier. And I shot Bin Laden. That was it. And like even now people say, well, you shot Bin Laden. I mean, people say you did. And I'm like, I wish I didn't. I'm just telling you the story, man. I'm telling you what happened. I'm happy that George Washington had a biographer when he crossed the Delaware on Christmas to fight the Hessians. I'm glad I know what happened. And I'm just telling you what happened. I'm so over arguing about it because, I mean, 3 of us saw it. Me, Osama Bin Laden, and Amal Bin Laden. By the way, her story is exactly the same as mine. And if you don't believe me, I honest to God don't give a fuck.
Yeah, well, I think at this point it's pretty much been established. You took the shot. I think everybody kind of agrees that's what happened. It's just interesting to see. I mean, yeah, it's just such a huge moment in time, though, right? Yeah. I mean, this guy, if you think about it, I mean, you think about some of the worst humans, people that have done things to America, you know, and I mean, Hitler basically killed himself, we think. Nobody really knows, you know, and you got different people that have existed.
Well, I've heard Hitler didn't even die. I heard Hitler...
There's the rumor has
he's still alive in Argentina.
And, but, you know, Osama Bin Laden is on that very short list, and to be the man that took him out, I mean, you're a real life superhero, man. And I know that you don't want to hear that. You're not going to even accept that.
The guy in front of me was a superhero.
Fair enough.
I just followed
frankly, all 23 of you guys that were that day. And that's the thing. It's like, I could be sitting here right now with anybody that was on that mission, and it would mean just as much because all 23 of you went in and did that thing. But also just what you had to do, who you had to become to be able to have that moment in time, right? And I think that's what's so admirable about your life is it's not that you took that shot. Like you said, any but one of you could have taken that shot. It's that you had prepped and put yourself in a position. I think that's why there's so much to learn from somebody like you is you had done so much work to put yourself in the position position to be the guy to get to take that shot.
Yeah, I mean, it took a lot to get there. You got to figure just to get to that tier 1 level is amazing, because 85% of the guys that try out to be Navy SEALs don't make it. And then you got to be a Navy SEAL for 6 years to try out for SEAL Team 6. And then of the guys that try that, 50% of them don't make it. And then you got to get to a level of the so there's 4 squadrons, color squadrons: red, blue, gold, silver. And then of that group, then they're going to pick a group to do. It's just, yeah. It's, I mean, and those guys are still out there doing whatever. They're doing amazing shit. But yeah, I mean, luck helps.
Yeah, sure.
It does.
And luck is, though, when preparation meets opportunity,
true.
right?
Yeah.
And so that luck created by you created itself in that moment for you to have that experience. Well, it's pretty sweet, man. It's pretty freaking incredible. So, I mean, what has been maybe the best thing and worst thing that's come out of this for you in your life of having that moment when you killed Osama Bin Laden?
You know, it's hard. I mean, I think the best thing that's come out of it is I have a platform where I can try to help other veterans who have dealt with post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, I would like to divorce myself from the Bin Laden raid. I can't get away from it. It's gonna follow me to the grave, and unfortunately, my kids need to live with it.
Sure.
But just the awareness of what everyone did in different places. Because I sit here and talk about the war in Iraq and the war in Afghanistan. I want people to know that what they did was actually noble, and you're fighting for the man or woman next to you. That's very important. And you can because it's just getting back. Like, I've heard so many stories of guys going to see doctors at the VA. We talked about psychedelics. Talking to doctors at the VA that tell you they can't do anything about it. They hand you a bottle of pills. Dude goes outside and blows his brains out in the parking lot of the VA, which happens. So I can raise awareness for Ibogaine. That's the best. Like, for the rest of it, I would love to drop that bag, but can't do it.
So when you come on a podcast like this, I mean, obviously everybody wants to hear that story. You know, as I was studying for this podcast, I think every podcast I listen to, you know, people want to hear the story. Yeah. It is one of the best stories that has ever been told.
It doesn't even sound real.
No, it doesn't. And so I guess you're kind of like MacGyver, the TV show, right? Like, that guy could play any other movie. He's still MacGyver. I always see like Zach Morris, right? Or something. It's like, it's just you, man. You're just going to be the guy. And
the same team, the better story is Captain Phillips, because SEAL Team 6 was designed to rescue American hostages at sea. We'd never done it. 1980 to 2009. It had never been done.
Never happened, huh?
Never. And people will say, well, we can't talk about it. Bullshit. We never had done it. And all of a sudden, so I was at my daughter's Easter tea party at her preschool. She was 4 years old on my birthday, Good Friday, April 10th. I have a pink plate in my hand, and I'm getting her cupcakes. I walk over, we get a message. You guys are going now to rescue this guy. So from my daughter's Easter tea party on my birthday, 15 hours and 46 minutes later, we're in the Indian Ocean. And we didn't know what we're going to do. We put snipers down in the back of the ship. It's towing whatever. And one of my best friends took the shots to rescue Richard Phillips. And when we got back home, people were kind of giving him shit because it's the most important mission in modern history. This is 2 years before the Bin Laden raid. And I kept saying to him, don't listen to these fuckers. You're a hero. And I would pull out my dip and I'd hand it to him. Take a dip from me. You're a fucking hero, whatever. He was riding next to me in the helicopter out of Bin Laden's house. He was on the mission, right? So I'm sitting there trying to figure out what just happened. Under my night vision, his dip came underneath my night vision. He said, take a dip from me. Now you know what it's like to be a hero. So these are just the coolest dudes. I was fortunate enough to be a part of this team.
Yeah, what a beautiful man. And if you guys haven't seen the movie Captain Phillips, that's one of my favorite movies.
Great movie.
If you can watch the end of that without crying, man, it's pretty emotional.
There's no way.
Yeah,
no
they
way.
did such a good job. That might be the best acting moment I've ever seen an actor, when he's bawling at
amazing.
the end. It's just...
You know, I heard a rumor, it could be a rumor, that the woman that was playing the corpsman is the actual corpsman that was there with Richard Phillips.
Oh, really? Okay.
Rumor. I could be wrong.
Sure. Yeah. Well, what's next for you, man? What do you, I know you spend a lot of time right now, like you said, raising awareness for vets and doing those things, and you do have an amazing platform to be able to make a difference, but how do you, you talk about athletes that they win the Super Bowl, they hit the pinnacle of their career, they do these things, and they kind of have a hard time finding their purpose a little bit after that. Or has that happened to you a little bit, or what is next for you, or what do you do just on a daily now?
Now I'm just kind of, I took a couple months off so I can hang out with my daughter Valor, because my other daughters, I was not there when they, because I would go back to war, back and forth. Like, I would leave Baku by Iraq to watch one of my daughters born and go back to war. Now I get to hang out with her, so I'm kind of chilling. Armed Forces Brewing Company is exciting. We've got a beer company. We're working on a non-alcoholic beer. That's more my style now. Because
was the Ibogaine what got you off alcohol?
Possibly, yeah. Okay. Ibogaine, and then
About the same time.
THC too. I'm working on that too, trying to get a alternative. You know, again, with the beer, with the alcohol, it's fine. If you can do it, great. Be responsible. I've proven that sometimes one beer turns into a weekend of bad days. Just doing that and kind of raising it. But I'm pushing 50. Whatever. If it doesn't happen, doesn't happen. I can live off the land. I can go to Cape Cod. I can swim with great whites, which I do.
Have you been able to get out of the cage with the great whites?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, so I've swam, so I need to go with you or something, because I've swam with
Let's do it. Set it up.
15 different types of sharks, tiger sharks, great
hammerheads. Where'd you go, Bimini?
And I went to Tiger Beach. So.
Tiger Beach, Bimini, yeah. That's dope.
Yeah, I actually went out to Guadalupe as well.
Have you been there?
With the great whites, but they wouldn't let me get out of the cage.
Well, that depends who you go with. Okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I need to go with somebody who can get me out of the cage, because that's like my dream.
ABC4 Explorer, Andy Casagrande.
Dude, we need to chat about it. I need your help on this, because I was so disappointed.
Because I don't want Mexico to listen to us.
Yeah, fair. I was so disappointed they didn't let me go and swim outside the cage.
Well, Isla Guadalupe is so clear and clean. The great whites, they appreciate you.
Yes.
Oh, getting out of those cages, though, I tell you what, man. You see an 18-foot female great white, that's balls, man.
So you've done it, though. You've swam with the great whites.
Yeah, Andy brought me out. Don't tell the Mexican government. We got out there, and just the way they simply swim at you, it's like you're almost immersed, like, oh, what a beautiful creature. Then it's like, holy shit.
When they have that smile, right? Yeah. It looks like they know a secret about you or something.
I'm convinced with sharks, great whites are polite. Tiger sharks are funny. Bull sharks are assholes.
Yep, they are assholes.
Great hammerheads are nice, and reef sharks are like puppies.
Yeah.
And the lemons are funny because they yawn a lot. So when they yawn, it like these teeth come out. It's like, no, he's just yawning.
Well, it's funny that I love a fellow shark lover that can appreciate this, because there's so much to learn from them, because when you swim with them, you feel their energy. And it's kind of like we said about people in Afghanistan. They're just trying to go to work and live their life every day. That's how sharks are. They don't give a shit that you're there. No. And then all of a sudden, you hear, the 4 people a year that get attacked and die from a shark attack.
They screwed up.
Yeah, and there's hundreds of millions of sharks swimming with people every day.
You got to realize that if you've been in the ocean, you've had a positive encounter with a shark. You just don't realize it. Yeah, sharks are fine. They're good. People are so much worse than sharks.
Oh, that's what I tell people. Is like I would much rather swim with a great white than be in a room of a bunch of strangers and they have.
Now, bull sharks, different animal. I don't like bull sharks. They're aggressive as shit.
Yeah,
I've heard a rumor that bull sharks have more adrenaline going through their veins than a bull elephant in heat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Andy Casagrande, follow him.
Okay.
ABC4 Explorer.
Done. I appreciate you, man. Well, that's a great way to wrap this. For people that want to follow your journey, if they want to learn more about you, obviously your book, The Operator, is an amazing book. People should go buy it. But where should we send them to listen more?
Go check out The Operator podcast with Rob O'Neill. And then at McHooyah, MCHOOYAH. And that's funny because I started that when Twitter came out. A buddy of mine at SEAL Team 6 said, you got to start this handle. No one will know who you are. So pick something. And I picked McHooyah, meaning Mick being an Irish guy, Hooyah for SEALs, McHooyah. So I had 7 followers. The next day my name leaked as being the guy that killed Bin Laden. I had 13,000 followers. I'm like, fuck, I'm McHooyah. So, but at The Operator podcast is one too. Just check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Rob, appreciate you so much, man.
Thanks so much.
Both for your service and your time today.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cheers.